There is a battle raging around you at every moment, and most men do not even realize they are fighting it. It is not a battle of swords or shields, but a battle for your inner fortress, your mind, your composure, your very soul. Every day, you are invited into 1,000 small wars. The coworker who challenges your ideas with spite, the stranger who cuts you off in traffic, the friend who questions your judgment, the family member who seeks to provoke you into anger. And in each of these moments, you face a choice that will define not just your day, but your character itself. The weak man accepts every invitation to war. He argues, he defends, he explains himself to those who have no intention of understanding. He believes that victory comes through the conquest of others, through making them see his point, through proving himself right in the court of public opinion. But the Stoic knows a deeper truth, one that Marcus Aurelius whispered to himself in his private meditations. Nearly 2,000 years ago, how much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself. This is the way of calm power. This is the path of the man who wins without ever entering the arena of argument. He understands that true victory is not achieved by defeating others in verbal combat, but by maintaining perfect command over the only territory that truly belongs to him, his own mind, his own reactions, his own inner world. Listen carefully to what Epictetus taught his students in ancient Rome. No one can hurt you without your permission. These words cut through centuries of human delusion like a blade through silk. Every argument you engage, in every emotional reaction you allow, every moment you spend defending yourself against the opinions of others, these are permissions you grant. You are the gatekeeper of your own peace, and most men leave that gate wide open, wondering why chaos keeps streaming through. The Stoic sees arguments for what they truly are, traps set by the emotionally immature, snares designed to drag you down into the mud of reactive thinking. When someone attempts to provoke you, they're essentially asking you to abandon your position of strength and join them in their weaknesses. They want you to descend from the mountain of your composure and wrestle with them in the valley of their confusion. But why would a king leave his throne to fight with beggars in the street? Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, wrote these words to himself. Whenever you want to cheer yourself, consider the good qualities of your companions. He did not write about defeating his enemies in debate or proving his superior intellect. He focused on maintaining his own inner equilibrium, on finding reasons for gratitude rather than grounds for conflict. This was not weakness. This was the ultimate expression of strength. A man secure in his own worth has no need to prove it to others. Consider the mathematics of argument. When you engage in verbal combat, what do you truly win, even if you emerge victorious, having dismantled every point your opponent raised? Having exposed the flaws in their reasoning, having reduced them to silence, what have you gained? You have spent your precious energy, your limited time on this earth, your mental clarity, all in service of what? Convincing someone who did not want to be convinced? Proving a point to someone who will forget it by tomorrow? The Stoic calculates this equation and finds it wanting. But there is something far more valuable at stake than mere time and energy. Every argument you engage in chips away at something irreplaceable, your dignity. Seneca understood this when he wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Each time you lower yourself to argue with someone who seeks only to provoke, you end a small part of your composure, your self-respect, your inner peace. You cannot reclaim these things once they are spent in the marketplace of petty disputes. The man who argues reveals his dependencies. He shows the world that his sense of self-worth depends on external validation, that his peace of mind can be disturbed by the words of others, that his confidence requires the agreement of people who may lack the wisdom to understand him. But the Stoic stands independent. His worth is determined by his character, his actions, his adherence to virtue, not by the opinions of those around him. Watch closely how arguments unfold around you. You will see a curious thing. The loudest voice in the room is almost never the wisest. The person most eager to prove their point is rarely the one with the strongest position. True strength whispers, true wisdom observes. True power maintains its composure, even when surrounded by chaos. The Stoic embodies this truth. He He does not need to raise his voice because his actions speak with clarity that words could never match. There is a profound lesson in the way water moves through the world. It does not argue with the rocks that stand in its path. It does not waste energy trying to convince the boulder to move aside. Water simply flows around obstacles, finding the path of least resistance, never losing its essential nature, eventually reaching its destination, while the rocks remain exactly where they always were. The Stoic moves through human conflict with this same fluid intelligence. He encounters resistance and does not resist back. He faces aggression and does not become aggressive. He meets chaos with calm, confusion with clarity, noise with silence. This is not passive behavior. This is the highest form of activity, the activity of self-mastery. When others are controlled by their emotions, you remain in command of yours. When they are reactive, you are responsive. They are scattered, you are focused. Contrast becomes a form of teaching, though you never speak a word. Your composure in the face of their agitation demonstrates a different way of being. In the world, some will learn from this example, others will not. Either way, you have fulfilled your duty to live according to virtue. Epictetus, who spent years as a slave before becoming one of history's greatest teachers of freedom, knew the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. He taught that we cannot control what others say about us, what they think of us, how they choose to treat us, but we have complete control over how we respond to these external circumstances. This is where our true power lies, not in changing others, but in perfecting our own reactions to whatever others choose to bring into our experience. The manipulative person understands that most people are controlled by their emotions. They know that if they can make you angry, they can make you stupid. If they can provoke you into argument, they can drag you down to their level where victory is impossible because the entire game is rigged. But when you refuse to play their game, when you remain unmoved by their provocations, you reveal their powerlessness. They cannot control what they cannot provoke. They cannot manipulate what remains unshakable. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This realization transforms everything. When you truly understand that your peace depends only on your own choices, that your dignity can only be surrendered by you, that your strength comes from within rather than from external validation, you become unassailable. Others may raise their voices, but they cannot disturb your inner quiet. Or they may attack your ideas, but they cannot touch your self-worth. They may seek to draw you into their drama, but you remain centered in your own purpose. There is an ancient story of a master who was insulted by a student. The master listened calmly to every harsh word, every personal attack, every attempt to provoke anger. When the student finished his tirade, the master asked simply, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The student, confused, replied, "To the one who offered it." The master nodded. "Your anger, your insults, your attempts to hurt me, these are gifts I do not accept. They remain with you." This is the ultimate victory, the ability to refuse engagement with negativity, to decline invitations to emotional chaos, to remain unaffected by the storms that rage in other people's minds. The Stoic achieves this not through suppression of emotion, but through understanding. He sees clearly what serves his highest good and what does not. He recognizes that most arguments are not about the stated topic at all, but about ego, about the need to be right, about unresolved pain seeking expression through conflict. When you understand this, your response to provocation changes completely. You no longer take personal attacks personally because you recognize they are not truly about you, they are about the other person's inner turmoil, seeking an external target. You no longer feel compelled to defend your position because you know that those capable of understanding already understand. And those incapable of understanding will not be convinced by any argument you could make. Seneca wrote, "It is equally faulty to trust everyone and to trust no one." The Stoic applies this wisdom to conflict. He does not trust that every person who challenges him is acting in good faith, seeking genuine dialogue, hoping to reach mutual understanding. Many people argue not to learn or to teach, but to dominate. To release frustration, to feel superior by making others feel inferior. Recognizing this pattern frees you from the obligation to engage with every challenge as if it were legitimate. But neither does the Stoic trust no one. He remains open to genuine conversation, to respectful disagreement, to the possibility that he might learn something new. The difference lies in discernment, the ability to distinguish between someone who disagrees with your ideas and someone who seeks to attack your character, between constructive criticism and destructive manipulation, between an invitation to a growth and a trap designed to diminish you. This discernment comes through practice, through observation, through the cultivation of inner stillness that allows you to see clearly rather than react automatically. When your mind is calm, you can perceive the true intention behind another person's words. You can sense whether they come from a place of genuine concern or from ego-driven need to be right. You can feel the difference between someone who wants to help you improve and someone who wants to see you diminished. The Stoic's silence in the face of provocation is not the silence of weakness or confusion. It is the silence of complete understanding. He sees the trap and chooses not to step into it. He recognizes the game and decides not to play. His silence communicates more powerfully than any words. Coudet says, "I am not controlled by your emotions. I'm not disturbed by your judgment. I am not diminished by your attempts to provoke me." This kind of silence creates a profound psychological effect. People who are accustomed to getting emotional reactions become unsettled when they encounter someone who remains calm in the face of their agitation. Their usual tactics fail, as their attempts at manipulation fall flat. They begin to question their own behavior when it fails to produce the expected response. Your composure becomes a mirror that reflects their chaos back to them, often leading to moments of self-awareness they would never have reached through argument. But the true value of this approach is not its effect on others, is its effect on you. Every time you choose calm over conflict, every moment you select dignity over defense, every instance where you maintain your composure despite provocation, you strengthen something essential within yourself. You build what the Stoics called the citadel of the self, an inner fortress that becomes increasingly impregnable with each test it successfully withstands. Marcus Aurelius knew this when he wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. The present moment is the only place where your power exists." When you engage in arguments, you often find yourself defending past decisions or worrying about future consequences. You lose connection with the only moment where you can actually exercise choice, this moment. Right now, where you can decide how to respond to whatever is occurring. The Stoic remains anchored in the present. He does not rehash old grievances or anticipate future conflicts. He deals with what is actually happening, not with his interpretation of what is happening, not with his emotional reaction to what is happening, but with the simple facts of the current situation. His presence of mind allows him to respond with wisdom rather than react with emotion. Consider how different your life would be if you applied this principle consistently. Instead of spending mental energy replaying arguments from the past or preparing for confrontations that may never come, you could focus completely on what you can actually influence in this moment, instead of allowing other people's words to occupy space in your mind rent-free. You could fill that space with thoughts that serve your highest good. Instead of being pulled into the emotional chaos of others, you could remain centered in your own purpose and peace. This is not about becoming cold or disconnected. The Stoic feels deeply, but he does not allow his feelings to control his actions. He experiences emotions without being enslaved by them. He recognizes anger, disappointment, frustration when they arise. But he does not mistake these temporary visitors for permanent residents of his inner world. He observes his emotional responses with the same detachment he observes weather patterns, noting them, understanding them, or not allowing them to determine his course of action. Epictetus teaches us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This simple statement contains the key to all personal power. When someone attempts to provoke you into argument, they are presenting you with a test, not a test of your ability to win a verbal battle, but a test of your ability to maintain your center, to remain true to your values, to choose your response rather than react automatically. the man who fails this test, by engaging in pointless conflict, has revealed that he can be controlled by others. He has shown that his peace of mind is dependent on external circumstances, that his dignity can be compromised by the words of people who may not even matter to him. But the man who passes this test by remaining unshakable has demonstrated true strength. He has proven that he cannot be controlled, cannot be manipulated, cannot be reduced to someone else's level of consciousness. There is profound wisdom in the old saying, "Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference." But the Stoic's concern is not with how he appears to onlookers. His concern is with maintaining the integrity of his own character. When you argue with someone who is operating from ego rather than genuine inquiry, you necessarily descend to their level. You cannot engage in petty behavior while maintaining your nobility. You cannot participate in chaos while preserving your inner peace. The great Stoic philosophers understood that reputation is not built through winning arguments, but through consistent demonstration of character. Marcus Aurelius was not remembered for his rhetorical victories over political opponents, but for his commitment to duty, his philosophical wisdom, his ability to remain just and compassionate even under extreme pressure. Seneca was not celebrated for defeating enemies in debate, but for his insights into human nature, his practical wisdom, his example of how to live with dignity regardless of external circumstances. Your character is built in the same way, not through the arguments you win, but through the conflicts you choose not to engage, the provocations you remain unmoved by, the moments when you select wisdom over the need to be right. Each time you make this choice, you add another stone to the foundation of your inner strength. Each instance of choosing calm over conflict builds your reputation as someone who cannot be shaken, cannot be provoked, cannot be reduced to reactive behavior. This reputation becomes a form of protection. When people know that you do not engage in pointless arguments, they stop trying to draw you into them. When they understand that you cannot be provoked into emotional reactions, they stop attempting to manipulate you through provocation. Your consistent demonstration of inner strength creates a boundary that others learn to respect, not because you enforce it through aggression, but because you maintain it through unwavering composure. The Stoic recognizes that most human conflict arises from misunderstanding, not intellectual misunderstanding, but emotional misunderstanding. People argue not because they disagree about facts, but because they feel threatened, disrespected, or unheard. When you refuse to argue, you often diffuse the emotional charge that fuels conflict. Your calm presence can actually help others return to rationality more quickly than any counterargument could. But even when your composure does not influence others, it serves an essential function for you. It keeps you connected to your highest self, to the part of you that is wise, patient, and strong. When you allow yourself to be drawn into petty conflicts, you temporarily lose access to this higher wisdom. Become reactive rather than responsive, defensive rather than confident, scattered rather than focused. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This is the ultimate teaching. Your time on this earth is limited and precious. Every moment you spend trying to convince others of your worth is a moment not spent actually creating that worth through right action. Every argument you engage in is time taken away from the work of becoming the person you are capable of being. The Stoic focuses on his own development, his own character, his own contribution to the world. He does not waste energy trying to change others or prove himself to others. Understands that his life speaks louder than his words ever could, that his actions carry more weight than his arguments, that his example teaches more effectively than his explanations. This focus on personal development rather than external validation creates a profound shift in how you move through the world. You stop seeking approval and start living according to your own standards. You stop trying to control how others see you and start controlling how you see yourself. You stop reacting to what others do and start responding from a place of inner wisdom and strength. When you live this way, you discover something remarkable. Most of the conflicts that once seemed so important simply disappear. When you are not looking for reasons to be offended, you stop finding them. When you are not invested in being right, you stop needing others to be wrong. And you are secure in your own worth, you stop feeling threatened by the opinions or actions of others. This does not mean you become passive or indifferent. The Stoic is fully engaged with life, but he engages from a place of strength rather than insecurity, wisdom rather than emotion, purpose rather than reaction. He stands for his principles not through argument but through action. He defends what matters not with words but with unwavering commitment to virtue. Seneca wrote, "You will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you." True power is sitting back and observing things with logic. True power is restraint. If words control you, that means everyone else can control you. Breathe and allow things to pass. These words point to the deepest truth about human strength. Real power is not the ability to control others, it is the ability to control yourself. It is not the capacity to make others do what you want, it is the capacity to remain unmoved by what others choose to do. It is not about winning external battles, it is about maintaining internal peace, regardless of the chaos that may surround you. The man who understands this becomes truly free. He is not at the mercy of other people's moods, opinions, or behaviors. He does not rise and fall based on external circumstances. He carries his peace with him wherever he goes, not because nothing ever challenges him, but because he has learned to remain centered no matter what challenges arise. This is the Stoic way of winning without arguing. It is victory achieved not through conquest, but through self-mastery, not through defeating others, but through remaining undefeated yourself, not through proving your strength, but through demonstrating it quietly, consistently, powerfully, through your unshakable calm in the face of any storm. In the end, the greatest argument you can make for your way of life is the life itself. The strongest point you can prove is not made with words, but with the quiet dignity of someone who has learned to remain at peace, regardless of what others choose to bring to his experience. This is calm power. This is the way of the Stoic. This is how a man wins every battle, by refusing to fight wars that do not serve his highest good. The wise man knows that in the economy of attention and energy, every moment spent in pointless conflict is a moment stolen from meaningful creation. While others exhaust themselves in verbal sparring matches that change nothing and improve no one, the Stoic invests his precious resources in building something worthwhile: his character, his wisdom, his contribution to the world. When you master this art of winning without arguing, you join the ranks of those rare individuals who have discovered the secret of true strength. You become someone who cannot be controlled, cannot be diminished, cannot be reduced to reactive behavior, no matter what others choose to do. You become a force of calm in a world of chaos, a source of stability in a sea of emotional turbulence. A demonstration of what human dignity looks like when it is not dependent on external circumstances. This is your inheritance as a student of Stoic wisdom. This is your birthright as someone committed to living with honor, courage, and self-respect. The path is simple but not easy. Remain unshakable. Choose your battles wisely. Invest your energy in what truly matters, and let your life speak louder than any argument ever could. In this way, you win not just individual confrontations, but something far more valuably. Win yourself back from the chaos of reactive living and claim your rightful place as the master of your own inner world.